Sudan, a land of contrasts and deep history. It's a country in Africa, located in the northeastern part of the continent. You might have heard of it. Maybe you haven't. But Sudan is a place that deserves your attention. It's got a long, rich history that dates back thousands of years. Ancient civilizations thrived here, leaving behind pyramids and other remarkable landmarks, the whole deal. But Sudan's story is also one of struggle and resilience. For years, it's been caught in a cycle of conflict with various factions vying for power, and right now, it's facing a brutal civil war that has devastated communities and displaced millions. This isn't just another news story, folks. This is a humanitarian crisis that demands our attention. This is about real people, families torn apart, lives lost, dreams shattered, and the world needs to pay attention. The international community must come together to support Sudan in its time of need. Despite the turmoil, Sudanese culture remains vibrant and resilient. Traditional dances, music, and art continue to thrive. The people of Sudan are known for their warmth and hospitality. In bustling markets, you can find a rich tapestry of life, and amidst the challenges, there is hope. The children of Sudan represent a brighter future, one where peace and prosperity can prevail. Education is a beacon of hope. Schools and community programs are working tirelessly to provide opportunities for the next generation. Healthcare workers and international aid organizations are on the ground providing essential services and support to those in need. In the face of adversity, the people of Sudan are coming together, showing incredible strength and unity. The road ahead is long and challenging, but with global support and local resilience, Sudan can rebuild and thrive once more. So let's not just watch from afar. Let's engage, support, and stand in solidarity with Sudan. Together, we can make a difference. So, what's going on in Sudan? It's a question that has been on the minds of many people around the world. The situation is complex and deeply rooted in the country's history and politics. In a nutshell, it's a power struggle. But it's not just any power struggle, it's one that has far-reaching consequences for the people of Sudan and the stability of the region. Two military factions are fighting for control of the country. These factions are not just random groups. They are well organized and have significant resources at their disposal. Think of it like two kids fighting over a toy. But this analogy only scratches the surface of the complexity and gravity of the situation. Except the toy is a whole country. Imagine the stakes being the lives and futures of millions of people. And the kids have guns and tanks. These are not just any weapons, they are military grade, capable of causing massive destruction, and a whole lot of anger. This anger is fueled by years of oppression, economic hardship, and political instability. This isn't a new fight either. The roots of this conflict go back decades, involving multiple generations. Sudan has a long history of internal conflict, north versus south. This division has been a significant factor in the ongoing strife. Different ethnic groups pitted against each other, it's a mess. The ethnic diversity of Sudan, while a source of cultural richness, has also been a source of tension and conflict. The leaders of these factions have their own agendas, often prioritizing power over the well-being of the people. Meanwhile, the civilians are caught in the crossfire, suffering from displacement, loss of loved ones, and a lack of basic necessities. International aid organizations are doing what they can, but the situation is so dire that their efforts often feel like a drop in the ocean. Children in particular are the most vulnerable. Many have known nothing but conflict their entire lives. Despite all this, the people of Sudan are incredibly resilient. Their culture, traditions, and sense of community provide a glimmer of hope in these dark times. Peace talks and negotiations have been attempted numerous times, but finding a lasting solution has proven to be incredibly challenging. The future of Sudan hangs in the balance. The outcome of this power struggle will shape the country's destiny for years to come. The global community has a role to play as well. Diplomatic efforts, economic sanctions, and humanitarian aid are all tools that can help steer Sudan towards a more stable and peaceful future. There is hope, but it requires a concerted effort from both within and outside Sudan. Only time will tell if peace can finally be achieved in this divided country. How did this latest war start? What were the events that led to such a devastating conflict? Well, Sudan was actually trying to transition to democracy. After years of oppressive rule, the people of Sudan had had enough. They wanted change, they wanted freedom, and they wanted a government that represented their interests. They had a revolution, kicked out the old dictator. It was a moment of triumph, a moment when the people felt their voices had finally been heard. The dictator, who had ruled with an iron fist for decades, was finally overthrown. Things were looking hopeful for a minute. There was a sense of optimism in the air, a belief that a new era was dawning. People celebrated in the streets, hopeful for a brighter future. But then, bam! The military decided they wanted to hold on to power. They weren't ready to let go of the control they had enjoyed for so long. The transition to democracy was abruptly halted. And that's when things really went south. The military's refusal to relinquish power led to widespread unrest. Protests erupted, and the situation quickly escalated into violence. The two generals leading the charge, they were supposed to be the ones guiding the country towards a peaceful transition. Let's just say they used to be buddies. Now, not so much. Their alliance crumbled, and they turned against each other, each one vying for control. They're both hungry for power. Their personal ambitions overshadowed the needs of the nation, leading to a brutal power struggle. And the Sudanese people? They're caught in the crossfire. Innocent civilians are bearing the brunt of this conflict, their lives turned upside down by the chaos. Families are being torn apart, homes destroyed, and the hope that once filled the air has been replaced by fear and uncertainty. The dream of a democratic Sudan seems more distant than ever, as the nation grapples with the devastating consequences of this power struggle. Here's the thing that really gets me. The world is acting like this is just another day at the office. Oh, another civil war in Africa? That's terrible. Anyway, it's like people have become numb to the suffering. Where are the sanctions? Where are the peacekeepers? Where's the outrage? We need to do better. We need to make some noise because silence is complicity. Section 5, a humanitarian catastrophe. This war is, well, a humanitarian nightmare. People are being killed, homes are being destroyed, millions have been forced to flee their homes, they're living in camps struggling to survive, food is scarce, water is contaminated, diseases are spreading like wildfire. Imagine having to leave everything behind, your home, your belongings, your loved ones. This is the reality for millions of Sudanese people, and the world is failing them. Let's talk about the children for a second, because they're the ones who suffer the most in any war. In Sudan, kids are being recruited as soldiers. They're being forced to fight in a war they didn't start. They're being robbed of their childhoods. Education? Forget about it. Healthcare? Good luck finding any. These kids are traumatized, they're scared, and they need our help. The war isn't just devastating lives, it's destroying Sudan's economy. Businesses are shut down. Farmers can't tend to their fields. Inflation is through the roof. People can't afford basic necessities, it's a vicious cycle. War leads to poverty, poverty leads to instability, and instability leads to more conflict. Breaking this cycle is crucial if Sudan ever wants to rebuild. So, how do we stop this war? It's not going to be easy, but we have to try. First things first, we need a ceasefire. Both sides need to put down their weapons and come to the negotiating table. The international community needs to step up. We need mediators. We need peacekeepers. We need to send a clear message that violence is not the answer. This isn't someone else's problem, folks. This is a human problem, and we all have a responsibility to do something. So what can you do? Spread awareness. Donate to organizations providing aid in Sudan. Contact your elected officials and demand action. Every little bit helps. Let's show the people of Sudan that they're not alone. Let's be the generation that finally brings peace to this troubled land.